I don't know whether it is because of this Neyyar, means Malayali. So is it because of that, or is it because I'm a veteran journalist now? So they say, I don't know what it is. But I recall that first time when I was invited to Kerala, many, many years ago, the Mudripad was still there that I'm talking about. So this person who was leading me, see, went on speaking on Malayali, considering me a Malayali. No, we have the habit of speaking one or two words in English. So that gave me the idea of what the trend of the question was. So it went on till lunchtime. Then something about Punjabis came. So he started abusing something. Then I said, "No, please, I am a Punjabi." Chacha, oh, I'm sorry, because I thought you were Malayali. So anyway, but I am just... now, I must say, Kerala, we all here in the north, we think Kerala is the leader in all our movements. The spark comes from Kerala and then it spreads, the fire spreads in the country. I recall that I was then in the government working with Home Minister Govind Vallabh Pant. And he had invited all the chief ministers. Badan Rai was there at that time, I'm telling you, B.C. Roy. And the proposition was to extend the Preventive Detention Act. Now, of all the persons, only one, the Mudripad, said, "Okay, I don't agree with it and I oppose it." So everybody, they said, Vidhan Rai, I remember, said, "You think you are the only patriot?" He said, "No, I am not talking about patriotism. I am fundamentally against the Preventive Detention Act." And anyway, I would say it was passed or accepted by the Chief Minister, but he did not. He said, "Okay, please have my dissenting note." And he did. Later I went on meeting him so many times, but so I am saying that Kerala, I have always thought that Kerala gives the lead. During the emergency, when the censorship was imposed, at that time, only paper in the country which dared was Mathrubhumi, then was edited by V.M. Neyyar. And he believed in certain principles, and so he... But later, of course... So I recall that there... some people went to Mrs. Indira Gandhi, then the Prime Minister, and she made a remark. She said, "What has happened to these all big journalists drawing big salaries, having big names, but not a dog has barked because there is no protest against the emergency?" So the editors who met her, they came to me, they said, she didn't mention you by name, but she was referring to you. So I thought, my God, what is it? So I went around the newspaper offices. I used to work in Express, and there Times of India, Ballot Coleman, then I went to PTI also, every. And I said, we shall get together at the press club the next day at 10 o'clock. Went around all around. So I was surprised that when at the press club, I found the hall full with journalists. And I still remember that Girilal Jain used to be editor in the Times of India here. He was there, so I was very surprised. So I said, I have no other thing to say except we don't, I just want a resolution to be passed that we condemn this press censorship and want the government to withdraw it. And somebody said some editors have been detained. So I said the resolution also said that this detention of people without trial, of journalists without trial, and especially mentioned some editors. So this we do not want, we as journalists. So I sent that resolution under my own name to the President, to the Information Minister, used to be at the time
Shukla.
Huh? Shukla was there, just. He was a good friend also. So Shukla, because, so I left it there. To my surprise, when I went back and collected the paper, the signature of as many as 103 journalists there. I was very much surprised. So I brought that. Shukla now rang me up. He said, he knew me by name, Kuldeep, where is that love letter? I understood what he meant by that. I said, that is in some place where I can't also read. He said, no, please, I want to see who are these journalists who dare to sign it. I said, there are some people, but I'm sorry, I can't give it to you. He said, Kuldeep, you are a good friend. You know, this is not now Mrs. Gandhi, this is Sanjay Gandhi. So, and Sanjay Gandhi, we don't bother about these technicalities of law and freedom. And we can arrest you also. I said, by all means. I never tasted this part, but I would. And they did detain me. Second day, people came and, but they couldn't get hold of that letter because that I gave it to my son who gave it to his friends. But what surprised me was that some kind of fear among journalists had started. In any case, after that I was detained. When I came back after 3 months and I wanted to pick up the thread where I had left it off. No journalist would come. So much fear, afraid. So I really did not know what is the problem. So what I want to tell you today is that we belong to a fraternity or to the profession. We are vehicles. We are the ears and eyes of the readers sitting somewhere in a village, somewhere else. She is not at the spot. But he or she trusts us and we write, etc. I'm sorry to say today that old classical type of journalism is over. But what has come is, I don't mind even some people projecting themselves, etc. But what has come is parochialism. I'm saying you can see after India is a secular democratic state. But what is beginning to prevail is soft kind of Hindutva, which is not what the constitution says, which is not what our profession demands. And journalists are getting along with it. Now, journalists' problem is that there used to be Working Journalists Act, still is. Nehru brought it because he thought that those people who write, they should not be afraid of being kicked out of the jobs. But now what has happened is that the owners have brought the contract system, circumventing all this working journalists, and that hangs on the head of like a sword. Journalists and journalists still are not able to do anything about it. I consulted Soli Sarabji not long ago, and they said, can't it be challenged in the court? He said, yes, it can be challenged because they have tried to defeat the letter and spirit of that act, and they have tried to circumvent. Why don't you go to the Supreme Court? I consulted lawyers. They said, you can't go because you're not a working journalist. Somebody who's affected by it has to go. I couldn't find anybody who was willing to go because he said, I am my owner, so why should I jeopardize my job? So today when we have assembled here, I want to tell you that true, the classical type of journalism was over, but still, we chose this profession or came to this profession because this gave something else beyond the general money or something else. And something else, we have to protect it. We have to stand for it, stand by it. And I do not find that happening. Journalists should introspect, especially those who in the TV and other media, that what are they trying to project? And what are they trying? This country has a constitution, has parliament, is a democratic, secular country. So if we journalists do not really protect that letter and spirit of that constitution, or whatever the law may be, then who is going to protect it? I feel very sorry today that the journalists, because of their fear to lose a job, they are going along. In fact, they are offering their head themselves. So today, really the owner or some combination, they rule the press. Press may be free, but it is not really independent that way, because you have to toe the line. There are very, very few papers now left in maybe, and in the, if this trend continues, and it has, then who is going to challenge this government? Any government, for that matter. And my feeling is today, if emergency may not be there, but something like that is already there, and journalists are so afraid. Is it? Of course, I can understand the job, but we who chose this profession knew that there would be a period when we would have no job, when there would be hardship. but we would stand by certain principles. Today I don't find that kind of spirit. The young journalists of today should understand that we have protected this right to freedom with our sweat and blood. And many people have gone to jail. Many even have sacrificed their life in this thing. But they have freedom. And if they, the journalists of today, just become slave of the job and do whatever the owner or whatever the combination asks them to do, then they are really not only betraying the profession, but also betraying the people who repose so much confidence in us. I do hope that this, what the journalists in Kerala are doing, I wish that some deputation we can form and let's go to meet the President of India. After all, he is the person who supposed to be protect everything, constitution, everything, and tell him or ask him what is his view. After course, he is the person who was the right-hand man of Sanjay Gandhi at that time. I am not trying to recall that. We wouldn't go back. But anyway, he is the president, and so I suggest that if the Kerala Journalists Association constitutes a group and asks me to accompany them, I would very gladly. In fact, when you constitute the group and when you can ask in my name the interview with the president, and we shall all go and tell him what is it. So because let's not leave it here. Whatever we can do, we should do. I am not saying that because of us things will change, etc. But something would happen. Something. I hope we would not be blacked out from the screens or thing. It's possible because after owners have. And do you know, I was working out the other day. Most of the channels in India are owned by these land mafia people because they have the money and they own the thing and you can. So what is because TV is more has immediate effect. Others that takes time, and newspapers are also try to balance here and there, and they have taken. But TV has a very big impact, and it is very important for TV people to see that the country here remains democratic, remains secular, and the sovereignty should lie with the people. That is, they have the right to change the government. They go before the ballot box and change it. Maybe some other kind of emergency will come, but we the journalists should stand up and defy that. And if we have to go to jail, it's unfortunate, but meanwhile I gave a suggestion that let's go to the President at least and convey to him what we feel and how we feel. Thank you very much.